What's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing the first Q&A video for The Walking Dead, leading up to The Walking Dead Season 5 episode 13, which is called Forget. We're going to be focusing on Remember, and I'm going to be answering lots of your guys' questions, starting with the comment about the walls being designed incorrectly. Okay, spoiler warning if you haven't seen the episode yet. Remember, it was such a dense, heavy episode. There's just so many things to talk about this week. It's awesome. I couldn't wait to just kind of get at least one Q&A out there, just answering some random questions and stuff. Shouldn't have any trouble, releasing a Walking Dead video for you guys every day leading up to episode 13. Should be easy this week. Some weeks it's easy because it depends on the type of episode. This one, there's just so many different things to talk about. It makes it really, really easy to make lots of videos. So the first comment, this is not really a question. It's more like a comment. This was from Troy DeMars. And he says, the walls are designed wrong. The reinforcement beams are located outside the walls. This is the wall's Achilles heel. The beams does next to nothing with an applied inward force. So then he says, spoiler, like no concrete as in the comics. So I thought this was a really good observation. It's something that I kind of noticed, but then I didn't. Like, I sort of noticed it, and I kind of, like, you could clearly see when Rick was outside, at least in certain parts. I don't know about the entire thing, because it's kind of hard to judge, exactly, but I think he's correct here, is that the support beams are actually on the outside, so they're facing inward, but if the zombies come up from there and they push against it, those beams are not going to do anything because they're on that side. If the zombies push enough zombies, they're going to be able to actually dislocate or disjoint part of the wall, possibly, and knock it down. If the support beams were on the other side like this, then you'd have a situation where the zombies are hitting against here, but the beams are holding the wall in place, so they wouldn't be able to get in. However, in this situation, the beams are on this side and the zombies would be coming from this side, so they've actually kind of trapped themselves in, kind of in a way, unless they can, climb up and over the wall, which it's so tall is, almost impossible to do. So I thought that was a really great catch that he mentioned that, because it's something that when you watch the episode, you see it, but it might not click of how bad that really is. It might not click like they have just trap themselves inside in case something goes, like in case zombies break down the gates and they get in, unless they can get out the gate, there's like no way for them to get out. No way out. So I wanted to put that in there right away for you guys so you guys could kind of think about that. I'm going to review it again too, because I've only seen the episode once at this time, and I'm going to watch it again later when I'm done this video, and maybe a couple others. There's Better Call Saul tonight in Gotham, so lots of stuff to do. So I'll review it again, or not review it again, but I'm going to watch it again. That way I can get a better understanding of everything. But I just thought that was a great, a great observation from him. That's absolutely true. They have totally designed it wrong, these idiots. I love how the Alexandria safe zone, like all the people inside, they just feel like such idiots. They just feel like they just can't, they just can't do anything right. They just can't, and no matter what they try to do, they just, I don't know. They're just, they're not strong survivors. They really are weak, not just physically, mentally as well. Especially when it comes to something that important. That's about the most important thing, I'd say, out of anything. And yet they're focused on other stuff like haircuts and, just whatever, whatever else they're doing, school and video games and whatever. So great one there from Troy. Next one's from Richard Jennings, 1234, and he says, "Hey Trev, what do you think of Dean Norris joining The Walking Dead? Maybe he could be a new character that was never in the comics, or maybe Gregory from the Hilltop." And this was after I did the Under the Dome video, so I've got some questions from prior to the episode 12 release. I'd love to see him in The Walking Dead, but I think at this point it's pretty safe to say they're probably going to steer away from any major, like, big-time actors aside from your main villains. So like the big villains, you'll probably see some really, well-known actors. But with regards to most of the random, kind of characters or survivors in the world, I think we're probably not going to see any big-name actors. They seem to want to stray away from it. Could be because of budget, could be because they don't want people to recognize that person and have it take them out of the experience. Because I think that Bryan Cranston would have been perfect for Douglas, but they, again, totally different direction. Go with a female instead. So it's lots of changes, but I personally think we'll probably won't see any huge actors in the show going forward. It'll be all, kind of lesser known people. I think that's the idea. Next one's from Brandon Curtis, and he says, "Hey, Trev, a couple of questions. Do you think we will see Morgan in the season 5 finale?" So the Morgan question, people are getting pissed off at some of the things people say. And we'll get into this a bit later, but yeah, I think we'll see Morgan in the finale. Anyway, and then he starts talking about Negan and some other stuff. Man. I'm going to leave that be for now. The whole Negan thing. I know there's a lot of people who are getting upset about people keep talking about Negan because it's too early right now. A lot of us jumped the gun a bit on that. So, and that's another thing people have been asking is my thoughts on that. So anyway, let's move forward. Next one's from Tom Lynn, and he says, "What do you think Carol's doing acting all sweet and innocent when really she's a female Rambo? At least I call her that." From Tom Lynn. So for Tom, yeah, so I did I not mention in the review, I'm not sure if I did or not. Sometimes I think of something, but I don't always say it, right? Yeah, so her strategy, at least I can see it right away, because she's so clever, is that they don't trust the people 100% in this new community. They don't know exactly what to expect. And thus, because they have to give over their weapons and do these things to join to give it a shot, she is playing possum, so to speak. She is playing dead, so to speak. She is playing innocent and sweet and harmless and defenseless when she is completely the opposite. When in reality, if she wanted to take out that whole damn place by herself, she probably could without almost any trouble. I would go as far as to say I think she could take out everybody in Alexandria, one versus however many there are, without any trouble at all. It would be like a walk in the park for her. Because if she's able to do it against the termites, I think they are a much tougher group. And yes, she had Rick and the others there, but I just don't think that the people of Alexandria, it's like they've been living in a bubble, or they've been living in a time warp, and all of a sudden, we reach them and we see how far behind they are. They're really like season 1 survivors that just happen to be behind this wall and happen to not have another group attack them thus far. So yeah, I think that that's exactly what Carol's doing. Is she doesn't want to show. It's all a show. She's the smartest, right? She's the kind of drug dealer that goes through life wearing a suit and a tie with glasses, and a nice haircut. That's what she is. So think about that for a minute. If you think about a lot of people that do things wrong, and just in real life, forget about zombie apocalypse, a lot of times they tell you with their persona. They tell you with how they're dressed, what they're wearing, who they are, right? And if you want to hide, the best way to hide is in plain sight, is to do the opposite. She gets even like a granny sweater and the whole bit. Everything just as clean cut looking and as innocent and everything as you can want to expect. And then underneath, that's the trick, that you actually have a monster lurking within. That's the whole idea. So any drug dealers out there, follow Trev's advice. Get yourself some fake glasses, get yourself a nice suit, and do whatever you want, because when anybody sees you, they will never expect that that's what you're up to. And you'll get away with a lot more, but people in real life usually don't do that. They usually like to fit profiles. Just shows what zombies some people are without thinking. The way I just showed you is really how you should play it if you're going to do something like that. Do the opposite. Carol is smart enough to see that, and she really works on that perception of how people are going to perceive her and uses that to her advantage, because so many people judge a book by its cover. So she uses that. See, so that's a strategy. So that's how smart she is. And I just love that. I just love that whole concept. Anyway. Moving on, next one's from Triple+1 Gamers, and he says, "Hey Trev, got a quick question for your Q&A. I was wondering what you thought of the scene where Rick shaves his beard. To me, it seemed like a callback to when Shane shaved his head, or at least it was shot similar to that scene. And to me, it's like both scenes symbolized a new beginning for Rick and Shane. With Shane, it was his descent into madness, and for Rick, it was forgetting the past and starting anew. What are your thoughts?" Absolutely. You nailed it, man. You nailed it. It paralleled what we saw with Shane earlier, but now it's with Rick. And also, if you look at a lot of the stuff recently, Rick, he at this point accepts the fact that he's not a good person and he's not a good guy anymore. He can't be. The world hasn't allowed him to be. So it's really cool that it's kind of like this Rick has become Shane. As he shaves and as he does all this stuff, he is, it's similar to what happened with Shane after he had done that to Otis and everything. He's got the cut and he shaves it because, he's got the piece of hair missing and everything, right? And then he looks, he wipes it and he looks and he sees himself. And he kind of has the crazy eyes, right? Descent into madness. I like the way you put it. But with Rick, it doesn't exactly mean the same. It doesn't mean Rick's descending into madness, but it's kind of like a symbolic of their evolution as characters and of a big changing point. For Shane, that was a huge changing point. Skipping ahead in his evolution in zombie apocalypse as a survivor way further, and for Rick it is kind of showing how much he has evolved and where he's at, and maybe being able to do the exact opposite. Maybe washing it off and shaving the beard and everything, and maybe I can go back to normal. But of course we know he can't. We know that, of course. So anyway, though, it was I noticed that exactly what you said, man. I thought it was really awesome. See, there's so many little things in the episode. In my reviews, I try to mention as much as I can in about 15 minutes, but it's impossible to get everything because look at all the. It's just so dense with different, awesome scenes and things that tie back into others and all kinds of awesome stuff. So great comment from you, Triple Plus One Gamers. Thank you for your support. Next one's from Tiny Tiger 46, and he or she says, "Hey Trev, do you think that Merle was killed off too early? I feel Merle could have been brilliant in season 4, and they could have done a lot more with him." So, I'll just stop you there. So, similar question to something I've had in the past before. I've answered it before. Do I think he was killed too early? No, I think he got enough time, and it turned out to be awesome, and he made season 3 that much better, which was amazing. It would have been cool to see him evolve through, but we have Daryl, so we don't really need to have Merle too. We can see that with Daryl. So those are my thoughts on that. I won't go into too much because I've had similar questions before. Next one's from Robbie Cantrell, and he says, "Do you think that Rick will get his arm cut?" And then he goes into some details, and something will happen to Carl, like what happens in the comic book series soon. So the Rick hand thing is probably never going to happen in the TV series. At least I don't think it's ever going to happen. The Carl eye thing at this point, yeah, I think we're going to see that. I think it's necessary to the character, and I think we will see that either maybe by this season end or in season 6, one of the two. I think we're going to see that. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Next one's from Ayana Christina, and she's got a great one here. She says, "The names of the last 4 episodes come from Dale's speech." And then she quotes it. "I like what a father said to son when he gave him a watch that had been handed down through generations. He said, 'I give you the mausoleum of all hope and desire, which will fit your individual needs no better than it did mine or my father's before me. I give it to you, not that you may remember time, but that you may forget it.'" So forget is episode 13. Yeah. "It for a moment, and then and not spend all." So spend is 15, right? I think, no. Yeah, 14. Yeah. And all of your breath trying. So try is 15 to conquer it. And conquer is 16. So I just thought that was a great observation. I want to throw that in there for you guys, and just put that out there. I think that's really, really clever, and I think she may have cracked the code for what the reason why they chose those names are. Man, if that's the case, that either they're putting tons of thought into the series now, and I love how much psychology and thought and throwbacks and symbology of things we've seen before, and just all the detail, all the attention to detail they're putting into the episodes now, even the episode names. If she's correct with this, either that or we love the show so much we read into it too much and we come up with stuff that actually isn't true and we give them more credit than they're worth. But I think she's right in this case. Could be wrong. Maybe eventually we'll hear from one of the. It'd be a good question for Talking Dead or something if you got somebody involved like Gimple or somebody to ask them that. I just thought that was a great observation. I wanted to share that with you guys. Next one's from TW David X. And we'll do like a couple more. And he says, "Not doing top 5 moments anymore. What's up? Just wanted to have an idea of why I don't do that every weekend." So first of all, I usually do that only for special episodes. Now this episode definitely qualified as one, and it's something I could do this week. However, That in particular is difficult for me just because of my personal life right now, actually. And that is that on Mondays, I have to work at 9 a.m. right now until my schedule gets changed. The rest of the week, I work later on in the day. But, in like late afternoons, and I work late into the night, that kind of thing. I've got weird shifts. So at work at my full-time job, because yes, I do have a full-time job, in case some of you think I just do YouTube all the time. So the reason why is because I have to watch The Walking Dead, then I have to review it, then I have to do the predictions, I got to type up everything, get the thumbnails, descriptions, put it out for you guys for those two. And then doing another one on top of that is difficult. So this week I did the Daryl one because I felt compelled to do that. Sometimes I just feel compelled to do one because I love the topic so much, or I just love what's going on so much. I could do like a top 5, but then I have to watch the episode again, and I have to create a list, and it takes a long time to do it. So because I got to work the next morning, I just haven't really had the time to do it. And then tonight there's Better Call Saul. I wanted to get this Q&A done, and Gotham for when I'm actually filming this one here. So that's the reason why. It's just because I don't have that much time. If I had lots of time, then I would do it every all the time. I would do it, except for episodes that aren't that good. But I feel like that top 5 thing is something that should be done the same night as the episode airs. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it like a week later or something? I mean, I could, but it's like that's something that should be done right away. I think after the episode airs, same day. So that's why I just am not able to do that. There was another question here I wanted to answer, which is kind of related to this one since we're on this kind of topic. And it was, do I ever get tired after making so many videos? Do you ever get tired of making videos? Let me find it here. Yeah. So do I ever get tired of making so many videos? So to answer that one for you guys, which is a funny question. Not really, I mean, now at this point I'm at about 2,000 videos between all the different channels I've had over 4 years now of doing it, almost 10 videos a week, 2,000, it's like 520 videos a year. That's about 4 years. At the beginning I didn't do that many, and more and more as I went along. So, but no, I don't. I never really get tired of hanging out with you guys, talking about stuff that I enjoy. That's what I enjoy. Sometimes I just get tired in general. Like I told you guys my schedule just now for this week. It's a lot of hours. It's like, close to 60 hours, that kind of thing. Over 50 for sure. I just get tired generally. Sometimes your state is just like that, especially during the wintertime when it's cold and stuff. I have really a lot of trouble because everything I do is usually after work or before work or, 5 days a week, and I'm doing it, right? So a lot of times I might not feel like making a video, but then it's like I feel like, I owe it to you guys to have something for you almost every day because that's what I set out to do in the beginning. So at least for a while, I feel like I can commit to that and I can continue with that. And so far, I've been able to do it for about 4 years, and it's worked. And I hope you guys like the channel. And yeah, it is a lot of work, but it's definitely fun and it's definitely worth it. And I want to talk about this stuff to somebody, and I can't picture myself having like a personal friend that would want to have me call them on the phone and talk for 10 hours a week about The Walking Dead. I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. So that's why I like to, I like to do it with you guys. And you guys are all awesome. You're really supportive. Well, most of you. Trolls, not you. You know who you are, trolls. And no love for you at all. No love for you whatsoever. You can go away. Or stop pretending you don't like the videos when you've been subscribing for 2 years. Okay? Okay, troll? You're not fooling anybody. You've been subscribed for 2 years, talking shit in the comments, telling me blah, 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 whatever. You're full of shit, and we all know it. You're like Carol, okay? You're dressed in one way, but inside there's something else going on. So that's for you guys. I usually don't mention the trolls very much. But anyway, this is a little bit personal. So anyway, let's get back. We'll do one more question. But there it is for you guys. Do I ever get tired? Does Trev ever get tired of making videos? Not really, but sometimes he just gets tired naturally, as we all do. Yeah, so... So, all right, we'll do one more just to wrap it up. This one's from Devlin Blevins, and he or she says, hey, Trev, my question is, did the Carol and Daryl forehead kiss scene end your other hopes of, did the kiss scene end your or others' hopes of them being in a relationship? I think Daryl might find someone at Alexandria over time, but what are your thoughts? And name is pronounced Devlin. Oh, sorry, Devlin. Yeah, did I say that right? I don't know. Thank you for already answering one of my questions, and be able to. I will ask a lot more in the future. Okay, keep up the great work, she says. Well, thank you, Devlin. Okay, got it. So, what do I think about the Carol-Daryl relationship at this current time? At this time, from what we've seen from Daryl recently, it looks like to me not going to happen. Looks like to me Daryl is closed off, and he's not interested in either a romantic relationship or really, creating new relationships with people that they're meeting. To me, it seems like he's more depressed, he's more angry, and emotionally, he's deeply saddened. So I don't think he's in a state to want to be open to having a relationship with Carol right now. Could we see something like that happen eventually? I think so, but I think it's going to take a long time because he, just for him to open up is so hard. And even though she advances and she does things like that, he always for the most part, moves away or rejects it or tells her to stop or whatever, that kind of thing. Even if it's just subtle. But he to me is like a lone wolf, so to speak. Pun intended in this case, because we might see the wolf soon. So, so I don't think characters like Daryl, Wolverine, very similar. I've talked about this before too. A lot of times they will have relationships, but they'll only be temporary. In the long run, they end up being lone wolves. And I think that's what he is for the series. But we'll see. I could be wrong. I just don't see him having that kind of... I don't see him that way based on his growth, based on what we've seen. I feel like it would have happened already. And I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's probably not going to now. So those are my answers for the first Q&A, guys. There's lots more questions. Send me what you got. We got lots of stuff to talk about this week. Going to do some Who Is videos. Maybe I'll do a Things You Missed for the episode if I get to watch it again. Just lots of things to talk about. See, this is a great type of episode for The Walking Dead, which is, remember, because it's so interesting. We have lots of things to talk about rather than, an episode where we don't really have much to talk about. It's self-explanatory. So I love episodes like this where there's just lots of new content, lots of new things to talk about. Makes it really fun, really easy to hang out with you guys and for us to talk about lots of stuff. So let me know what you guys think about all of these different questions that I read to you in this one. Feel free to write your answers below. And if you like the video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it, please favorite it. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, want to get these videos daily in your subscriber feed, go ahead. It's free. It's easy. You just click subscribe. That's it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next one. As always, it's Trev. Same peace. See you guys.